Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. This is. Oh, sorry, my phone's turned up. Welcome to the stream. It is the final one of the week-long streams. We are finally here, the Raw after WrestleMania. My God, there's so much to get into, which is why I've gone live a little bit early, because I believe Raw is at 1 o'clock. We're back to 1 o'clock start times. So, well, at least in the UK, 1 o'clock in the morning. But my God, have we got some things to discuss? I want to get into WrestleMania, and I want to talk about all the individual matches and give my star ratings for each match. No, sorry, not my star ratings. My ratings out of 10 for each match. I also want to um, talk about the reaction to what's happened at WrestleMania. I also want to talk about the Stone Cold Steve Austin situation because it's a very weird situation as to why he didn't turn up. So we're going to discuss that as well. And yeah, there's so much to get into. So I'm not going to waste any more time. But of course, before I can get into anything, I have to introduce my co-host for all these wrestling streams. It is, of course, Professor Wigglytuff. Hello.
Thank you, Tom, and a wiggly to you, and a wiggly to everyone out there. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you've had a good Monday. What a week! What a weekend it has been. And I find myself in the unusual position where, for the first time in a long time, at the end of a WrestleMania, I'm still wanting more. I enjoyed that. It's been a long time since I've said that about a WrestleMania or a wrestling event, but that was great. And just before we came on the air, I was saying I've seen a lot of WrestleManias in my time. From the Attitude Era, a couple of the older era ones, but not so much. Pretty much watch it every year. I would have to say that this probably is one of, if not the best WrestleMania I have ever seen. And I think after such a long time, Cody finally getting to finish the story, celebrating with the other superstars, or at least the faces, all the people that the bloodline had wronged. Well, most of them. It was great, and seeing all those returning superstars as well, and not just the main event. There were so many great moments on the undercard. The ladder match from night one: Rhea versus Becky, Io versus Bailey. We then had a British wrestler win one of the company's top belts for a second time, as in a British male wrestler. We had Drew McIntyre finally win the World Heavyweight Championship and have his WrestleMania moment in front of a crowd, only for it to be snatched from him minutes later. Probably because he was goading CM Punk, but had it snatched from him minutes later. And we had two World Heavyweight Championship title changes in one night. And now Damian Priest is the World Heavyweight Champion. So what's going to happen there? And of course, it wasn't just Roman Reigns' lengthy unbeaten run that came to an end. Gunter suffered his first loss as the whilst defending the Intercontinental Championship, and in both a shock and a pleasant surprise for many, Sami Zayn walked out of WrestleMania as the IC champion. So it's very much a weekend. It was very much a weekend for the faces reigning supreme. And where does this leave us now? The story has finished, but when, as they always say, one door closes, another one opens. One story, one chapter comes to an end, a new one is just beginning. What's next for Cody? What's next for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline? How will they react? How will The Rock be feeling after all that? And what about the women's championships? What's next for Rhea? What's next for Bailey? We've seen a return to a face for Bailey, and what of Damage Control? How will they react to all this? I'm sure we will discuss this as the night goes on, but thank you for hearing me out, and over to you, Tom.
Okay, well, there's so much to sort of talk about tonight, and it's such a. I'm still sort of reeling from last night. I mean, I've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be on Facebook, in the comments and stuff like that. getting into debates with people and stuff like that, or whether it's talking to my co-host or talking on stream. I've been saying for weeks that Cody Rhodes is walking out of WrestleMania 40 as the champion. But I said this last year. I said this last year. I said there's no way Cody loses at WrestleMania 39, and then he did. So I always had that little bit of a thing in the back of my mind, niggling me, thinking I thought this last year, and Cody still lost. So will that happen again? It ended up not happening, and of course, what I've been saying for weeks was correct, and it was the right time to do it. You know, a lot of people confident that Roman was retaining to overtake Hogan's record, and I said leading up to this WrestleMania, there's more important things than a record. One being Roman's health, two the story, and three, the future of WWE. You know what I mean? So there was just too many things more important than breaking Hulk Hogan's record. Um, so yeah, I mean, what a weekend! What a weekend! But before I get in, before we get into our ratings for each match, I want to just touch on well, not touched on, but I want to talk about what I mentioned in my intro. What I said I wanted to talk about, um, and I want to talk about the whole Stone Cold Steve Austin situation. Now, me and my co-host were discussing this just before we went on the air, and I said let's just discuss it on the air. We might as well because it was one of the things I wanted to talk about anyway. I find it a very weird situation. I find it very strange. So, some sources are saying that Stone Cold Steve Austin was just unavailable for WrestleMania, which I don't believe for a second because it's WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin would have made himself available. It's not like he's off shooting movies and stuff like that, and he's got a really busy schedule like John Cena or The Rock. You know what I mean? I know he does his own thing, but he doesn't have a schedule like The Rock or John Cena, so it's not like he couldn't have made time. So I don't believe for a second that it just was that he couldn't make it. You know what I mean? Um, and then other sources are saying that Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't getting the right money that he wanted, and that is why he didn't turn up. That I that again I don't want to believe, but it's more believable than just he wasn't available for WrestleMania. I find it very strange if it is to do with money because, like I said, there has been no trouble in getting Stone Cold Steve Austin involved in WrestleManias and other shows in the past. Whenever they wanted to bring him in, they've just managed to do it. So, what's the difference? Was Triple H not willing to pay him as much as what the ex boss was willing to pay him to bring him back? Or, was it a case of maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't going to get paid as much as The Undertaker and John Cena to turn up? Or was it a case of he just wanted more money and wasn't getting it and decided, well, I'm not going to turn up then? I feel it's a very weird situation. I can't imagine Stone Cold Steve Austin demanding too much money because he just doesn't seem to be that sort of person. He seems to, well, at least from what I've seen in the past, always put the business above everything else. But on this occasion, he didn't, and it's disappointing. I mean, people are saying that Stone Cold Steve Austin was supposed to turn up in the Undertaker's spot. I don't believe that to be true. I believe Stone Cold was probably supposed to turn up as well, but I don't believe it was supposed to be instead of Undertaker. Undertaker was always going to turn up at WrestleMania 40. Undertaker is WrestleMania. You know what I mean? That's his show. It's the biggest WrestleMania of all time. You can't have WrestleMania without The Undertaker, the biggest WrestleMania without Undertaker. So Undertaker was always going to turn up. People, saying all this stuff about, oh well, Undertaker took Stone Cold's spot. No, Stone Cold would have come out as well on top of all the others that come out. It wasn't going to be instead of it wasn't going to be it wasn't Undertaker instead of Stone Cold, or it wouldn't have been Stone Cold instead of the Undertaker. They both still would have turned up. Um, so yeah, I don't believe that either. I just find it very strange. I find it very strange this situation with Stone Cold. And it also makes me question: has he got a good relationship with Triple H? Because you know maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. We all knew he had a good relationship with the ex boss. As much as they always went at it, we know they had a good relationship. But does he have that good relationship with Triple H? Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. But I believe my co-host was searching up and reading about the potential reasons why Stone Cold didn't turn up. So I'm going to pass you over to him.
Sure. So, I mean, I've not really found anything conclusive. I think it's just mainly speculation. I think the gist of it is that simply Steve Austin wasn't available for whatever reason that was, and there've been a few sort of cheeky posts online of people giving photo evidence as to why he wasn't available, and they post a picture of Steve Austin playing with his cat, but that was actually taken about a week ago. He has posted something this morning on his Instagram, um, showing off his new pair of shoes and saying that he's allegedly caught Bigfoot. So read into that what you will. I think simply put it, it's a case of Austin simply wasn't available. It's difficult to kind of understand what he might have been offered or whether the money was right or whatnot. I can't imagine Austin would have said no to being at WrestleMania 40. I can't really speculate as to his relationship with Triple H, but it's very clear that things are going in a new direction, that there's a new sort of regime and an era going on. So who's to know? Obviously, I would have loved to have seen Steve Austin. I think the roof would have blown off if he had come out in the main event. But I think we had great fan service, as it were. With the legends that did make the appearance and the interferences that we had. I think it's also worth remembering each of the people that came out to help Cody Rhodes, whether it's Jey Uso, whether it's Seth Rollins donning his Shield gear, um, whether it's who else? John Cena, whether it was The Undertaker. Uh, those were all the ones that came out to help him, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
All of them have had some kind of history with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Obviously, John Cena's had history with both Roman Reigns and and The Rock. Uh, Jey Uso, obviously. Seth Rollins, obviously, is part of the Shield, and it was very interesting to see the way Roman went at him with the steel chair in a very similar way to which Seth Rollins did. And of course, lest we forget, Roman Reigns also inflicted a defeat on the Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. So that there is a sort of explanation that the superstars used were all people who had some kind of a history with the Bloodline and The Rock to justify their inclusion. But that obviously would have been perfectly reasonable then to have had Stone Cold Steve Austin, someone who of all those superstars probably has the most history with The Rock. And look, it's a case of not everyone could have been there on the night. Otherwise, there could have been so many other people who could have come out to help, who have had a history with either the Bloodline or The Rock or Roman Reigns. You could have had Mick Foley come out and make an appearance and put The Rock in the Mandible Claw. But I believe Mick Foley's not been well recently, so best wishes to him. You could have had Shawn Michaels come out, of course. There's no shortage of people they could have had come out to help in that main event. But I suppose the people that did come out were the ones that had either an association with the Bloodline and Cody Rhodes, and simply put it, Steve Austin didn't. Again, I there's no official. Obviously, there's never going to be an official word. There's no real sort of reasons out there as to why he didn't show up. Uh, Obviously, would have loved to have had him there. I'm sure we all would have done, but it's happened. And look, we still had a great time. It was a great event. We move on.
yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I just find it a very weird situation. But at the end of the day, we're more likely never going to get an actual real answer as to why he wasn't there, unless the man himself comes out and says something. Um, so yeah, I feel like there's not much else to really say on that subject because we could just go round and round in circles speculating as to why he wasn't there. But there's no point because we're never going to know the real answer, to be honest. So moving on, Um, I just wanted to quickly talk about people's reaction to what happened in the main event of night two. The 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 obviously Cody Rhodes ending the 1,300 plus day reign of Roman Reigns. It's been, you know what? It's been more divisive than I actually thought it would be, because I thought majority of people would have been ecstatic that Cody Rhodes had won and that Roman Reigns had finally lost. You know, we can move on from Roman Reigns. We can have a champion that's going to show up. You know, and we can finally move on from what a lot of people say is now a stale character. Um, you know, so I thought a lot of people, most people would be happy. Very divisive. I'd say 60% of people are happy, 40% of people aren't. From what I've seen on Twitter, and I tell you what, I've scrolled Twitter a lot today, looking at people's different reactions. Some hilarious, some delusional, some just downright stupid. And it's been very divisive. And I have to say, look, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You know, I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or you're wrong when it comes to your opinion. It's not something I would ever do. It's not something anybody should ever do. It's an opinion at the end of the day. It can't be right or it can't be wrong. Um, it's you know my personal feeling towards it, and I didn't really touch on it much last night because I was tired, and not just that. I was still like sort of it was sort of still sinking in, so I didn't even really know how to react at that point. Having had a full day to now let it digest and see other people's reactions and stuff like that, I'm obviously ready to talk about it, and I'm ecstatic about it. I mean, look, I no disrespect to Roman. I mean, about just over a year ago, I was slating Roman Reigns just like everybody else, saying, "Oh, why don't you turn up? Why don't you turn up?" Proper slating him. And then I thought about it one night. I just thought about it properly. I thought, you know what? The reason why he's not turning up as much is because of his body's knackered. He's got leukemia. He's on this medication that he will be for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? His body is knackered. He cannot perform as much as he would like to. I'm sure being passionate about the wrestling business, I'm sure he'd want to turn up as often as I'm sure he'd want to turn up every week and wrestle every week. You know what I mean? That's what the wrestling bug is all about. I'm sure he'd love to do that, but he can't. His body just will not allow that. So I stopped slating him, and I haven't slated him in over a year. I may have slated some of the booking decisions that happened with Roman, or some of the things that have happened within the story, within Roman's story, but not actually slated the guy himself. And look, I'm happy Cody won. I'm happy this reign is over. It went on far too long, and now they can set up Roman versus The Rock next year without the championship, because there never needed to be a championship, and it makes it a lot more interesting. Um, I feel like it was the right time to do it. WrestleMania 40, biggest WrestleMania of all time. You had to have a big ending, and the ending was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. A massive ending to a massive WrestleMania. Um, and like I say, I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy Cody's won. I'm so happy we've got a new uh, WWE undisputed Universal Champion. I'm intrigued to see what he does now, because he did say he wanted to change the championship once he become champion. So I'm intrigued to see if they'll allow him to change the championship. I assume they will do. Whether it be to the Eagle Championship that he wants, or whether it will be, a different championship, I don't know. We will find out. Maybe we'll find out tonight. I don't know if they'll have a new championship that quick, but who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they already had one ready to go because they knew he was winning. We will see. Um, but yeah, I'm ecstatic that I keep using that word, but I am. I'm ecstatic that Cody won. I'm so happy, and he did finish his story, and I'm so intrigued as to what's to come next, because a lot of people are saying that that's it for Cody now. His whole point of coming back to WWE was to finish the story. He's finished the story. What else is there for him to do? Well, he's finished the story, but he's still got the championship. There's so many interesting rivalries he could have. Randy Orton. He could have another rivalry with Seth Rollins, perhaps. He could have a rivalry with maybe LA Knight, maybe Kevin Owens. Um, there's so many names that AJ Styles. There's so many names that he could have a rivalry with that we have not even seen yet. You know what I mean? There's so much he can do with that championship, and people say, "Oh well, it's just gonna, the championship's gonna dip now. It's not gonna be elevated like it was with Roman. Maybe not to that point because Roman elevated it to a point where nobody's elevated it to before. But there's Cody will keep that championship elevated. There's no doubt about it. He is the most over superstar in the WWE at the moment. He's so beloved, and this crowd are not going to turn on him anytime soon. I don't care what other people say. They're not going to. It's just not going to happen. But no disrespect to Roman Reigns. I have a lot of respect for the man. You know, yes, okay, he barely turned up, but he had a very good reason for barely turning up. And I respect the fact that he still put his body through 2 matches this weekend, even though he's going through his leukemia, taking tablets for it. His body must be a wreck today, having had to do 2 matches Saturday and Sunday. But he put himself through that for our entertainment, and I have nothing but respect for the guy. And I did a tweet earlier, um, you know, saying, basically words along words like this. Sorry, I'm using the wrong words at the moment. So yeah, I did a tweet earlier, and basically I said, at Roman Reigns, I acknowledge you. That's something I never thought I'd say, but I do. Um, um, Thank you for putting your body through what you did. It must have been so difficult, especially with you going through leukemia. Um, your reign is over, but it will never be forgotten. Hashtag thank you Roman. Hashtag acknowledge him. I have no problem in acknowledging Roman Reigns. It is what he did was an amazing feat, and the fact that he put himself through what he put himself through for our entertainment, the way especially with his body, he's bound to be a wreck. I have nothing but respect for him for that, and yeah, that's all I really have to say on that. I'm sort of rambling on, but I'll pass you over to my co-host to see what he has to say.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, I mean, look, was it time for that streak to come to an end? That unbeaten run with the undisputed title? Yeah, I think it was. I think a lot of people thought it would have ended last year. A lot of people thought it would have ended before that. Um, to when he faced Edge and Daniel Bryan in that triple threat, and we all thought that Edge was going to get his fairy tale ending and win the title, but it didn't happen. And every time we thought it was going to happen, it didn't happen. It went on and on and on. And I think it's safe to say, look, Roman Reigns hasn't always been popular with the fans for whatever reason. I think there's a feeling that he was thrust upon the fans, and we were forced to like him. Frankly, I never felt that way about Roman Reigns. But look, when all is said and done, and eventually when his career does come to an end, he is easily in the top 10 of all. I seem to say this a lot by a lot about a lot of superstars, but he is easily in the top 10 of all time. You could even argue possibly the top 5 of all time. But he is easily up there. He has left his mark on the WWE. And when you consider as well the personal challenges he has faced outside of the ring, with his health battling leukemia not once but twice, and the fact that he still takes the medication to keep leukemia in remission, medication that has a toll on his body, but yet he's still able to go out there and perform. That's all the more admirable. And, look, you know, every great reign, every great run comes to an end sometime. But I don't think that takes anything away from Roman Reigns. He is the tribal chief. Uh, he is the tribal chief. Sorry, and we acknowledge him, and obviously we look forward to see what happens next. Whether that's a match with The Rock, whether that's a rematch with Cody, whether that's matches with somebody else, whether he decides to take a break and pursue endeavors in Hollywood or elsewhere. You know, the future. We look forward to seeing what Roman Reigns has to give. And look, it feels weird saying this, but it's been fun. It's been fun while it lasted. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I have nothing but respect for Roman Reigns, and I expect him to take an extended break now, maybe come back, maybe around SummerSlam, maybe even after SummerSlam. I don't know, but I expect him to take an extended break now, a well-earned extended break. But I just want to touch on one thing, and I'm not going to talk about it for too long. I just want to touch on one thing. Um, there's a picture going around of Roman smiling as he's being pinned by Cody. When Cody won. I don't know if you've seen this picture. Um,
Nope.
I've seen it a couple of times, and it's very clear. He is smiling. It's not. There's no other way to put it. He's definitely got a smile in his face, and is that smile because he's happy for Cody? Is it because he's happy the reign is over and he can now have a good rest? Who knows? Um, Nevertheless, he was smiling, and we will see what happens next with Roman whenever he decides to return. But Roman, enjoy your well-earned rest. The company is in good hands. Um,
Just seeing online on WWE's X account, X formerly known as Twitter, um, that Cody's now replaced the side plates with his own. A site that we've been waiting quite a while to see. But yeah, Cody Rhodes is the undisputed WWE champion.
he is. But
And also, that's one other point to make as well. With last night's win, that also brought, as was confirmed in press conferences prior to the event, that is the end of the Universal title. So that title's lineage has now cut. Well, it obviously gets absorbed back into the WWE title, but the Universal title, certainly as we knew it, has now come to an end.
absolutely. Welcome to the stream, Matt Williamson, and thank you for the chat. He says, "Keep up the content, Chief." I will do. I mean, I've been live every single day over the last week. I will be taking a bit of a break after this stream. I don't know when my next stream will be. I don't think I'll do. I don't think I'll do SmackDown. I'll see how I feel on Friday, but it's very doubtful I'll do SmackDown. I want to have a good break after streaming every single day for a week. I think I've I think I've earned that break. Um, but we shall see. I don't know whether. See, the thing is with Cody being champion now, I feel quite excited to watch. Well, I don't know. He's likely going to be on SmackDown at least for a couple of weeks anyway, until the draft, whenever the draft is. Um, so I feel excited to watch weekly television again to see what Cody does, what rivalries he gets into, in that. So I might start watching on a weekly basis again, and if I do, I might start streaming it on a weekly basis again. Who knows? We shall see. If that means, whatever show that Cody will be on. So if that's SmackDown, I'll stream SmackDown every week. If it's Raw, I'll stream Raw. Because I have enjoyed the last week. Doing the streams that I have done, I've really enjoyed them. It's made me fall in love with this sort of streaming again. Um, yeah. Anyway, moving on. So,
Well, I was just having a look at a list here, a list of all the opponents Roman Reigns beat during his run as champion.
oh, it's just a who's
Um,
who of big
it's
superstars, isn't it?
there's 21 names on this list. You want to maybe give a try very quickly to see if you can name them all?
Okay. Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens. Uh,
Uh, Hang on. Yes, two,
Braun Strowman.
three,
The Fiend.
four,
Jey Uso.
five,
John Cena.
six,
Um, Brock Lesnar.
seven,
LA Knight.
8,
Um, AJ Styles and Randy Orton.
9, 10.
Um, who else? I know he didn't beat Seth. Seth technically won, but it was by disqualification. So I know I can't include Seth.
No,
God,
Seth is on the list.
yeah, but he didn't beat Seth, so he shouldn't be on the list.
Well, this is the official one that WWE have given.
Well, WWE are wrong. He didn't beat. He didn't beat Seth. You can't add him on the list of people that he beat because he didn't beat Seth.
Fair enough. But we'll include Seth on this one.
I know he faced Seth, unless it's a list of people he faced. I don't know, but God, I'm trying to think because there's a fair few names that I've got left to mention yet. God, why can't I think? Oh, Edge, Daniel Bryan.
Yep, so we're up to 13.
And you said there was 21, so I've got
Yep.
8 left. How am I not able to think? Um, did he face Jimmy Uso?
No,
No, okay. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember if he had or not.
not
Uh,
Jimmy Uso.
no, and when Jimmy returned, he didn't want to join Roman at first, so I didn't know if they'd had a match. I couldn't remember.
Sure. I'm kind of
Um,
giving one away. I'm kind of giving you one for free there. I said he didn't face Jimmy
I've
Uso.
already said Jey Uso. I've already said Jey Uso.
Don't know if you did,
I
but
did. You counted him. You counted him. I have said him.
okay. All right.
He was one of the first I said.
Okay.
God, 8 more names to mention. I am struggling here. When you say them, I'll be thinking, how the fuck did I not even remember? Just trying to think of. So, I'm just trying to think of his WrestleMania defenses. So he faced his first WrestleMania as champion. He faced Daniel Bryan and Edge. Then it was Brock. Then it was Cody, and then obviously Cody again. But then Cody won. Um, I can't. I think of the rest. Um, oh, Matt Riddle.
Yep.
That just came into my head then because he defended the championship against Matt Riddle on a SmackDown. That wasn't on a pay per view. 7 more. I might have to give up here. I'm gonna kick myself when I hear the names you read out, but I'm just struggling now. I'm just trying to think of the people that are on the current roster or who potentially might be in AEW now. I'm just trying to think. I don't think.
I think there's at least one person there that is now no longer with the company. Well, or who is over at AEW, I should say.
Well, I've already mentioned Daniel Bryan. I've already mentioned Edge. I think I'm going to have to give up. I think you're going to have to tell me the rest.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the ones that you missed. So you missed out Rey Mysterio.
Oh my god. Told
You
you I'd kick
missed out
myself.
Sami Zayn.
Oh my word.
You missed out Drew McIntyre.
Wow.
You missed out. I think you missed out LA Knight.
No, I didn't. I said LA Knight.
You did say. Well, you missed out AJ Styles.
No, I didn't. I said AJ Styles and Randy Orton.
Did you? Oh, yes, you did. I'm getting confused now. Okay, here's the ones that you missed out then.
Right.
So you missed out Drew. You missed out Logan Paul. You missed out Sami
Logan Paul,
Zayn.
of course.
You missed out Goldberg.
Yeah. Goldberg.
You missed out. You missed out Finn Balor. You missed out Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
And the last one, the person who's now over at AEW, Cesaro.
Of course. I never even remember. I know. I don't. It's that long ago that he faced Cesaro. I don't remember it. But yeah. I, majority of them I should have known. I kicked myself for not knowing. But like I say, it's a who's who of legends and big superstars, and
Well,
respect to
yeah.
Roman. You know.
I mean, on that list, you've got 3 WWE Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, there's a lot of names on those lists who should all who should be in the Hall of Fame. They will be one day. But yeah, what a long reign it has been.
Yes, it has, and I'm looking forward to seeing what is next for the championship. It'll be very interesting. Um, so I just want to quickly go through our ratings for each match at WrestleMania because I'm going to find this very interesting to see how much we differ. Because I have a feeling that I might be a little bit more generous than you because I tend to be with my ratings. I've noticed. And then we also discuss what night was better as well. So I think starting off, we'll start with night one. I think night one was a solid card. It was a great show. I didn't, I am going to rewatch it at some point to get the full effect of it because I was so tired of that. I was so tired watching it. All I wanted was for it just to hurry up and get all the matches done and end because I was so tired. I just wanted to go to sleep. So I didn't really enjoy it to the fullest that I would have done if I was wide awake like I did with night two. So I will rewatch it. But I did see all the matches. Um, so I can give my rating. So the first match that kicked off the night, of course, was Becky versus Rhea for the Women's World Championship. As much as I disagreed with the winner, I think Becky should have won. It doesn't take away from how good the match was. I would give it a solid. I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. What do you say?
Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate. I think I'll give it a 7. Great opening match. Two of the best, highest profile female performers in wrestling. Surprised by the result, but look, Rhea's been a great champion. Maybe there's still some way. Uh, there's some way to go with that.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on to the next match. I can't remember fully the match order for night one. I can for night two, but I can't remember the match order for night one. So if I get the order wrong, I do apologise. But the next match, um, I believe it was the second match. I think it was the six-pack challenge,
It was.
the
It
ladder
was.
match for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Now, as soon as I saw the Tag Team Championships on different things hung up, I thought they're gonna split the championships. There was already rumours that that was what was going to happen. Um, Heart Attack 35 says, "Hey, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining the stream. Hope you're doing okay." Um, yeah, I liked how the match went. I like the fact that they have split the tag team titles up. I think it's about time. I mean, there's a lots of tag teams in WWE now, and I think it gives all the tag teams now chance to be champion at some point with the championships now split. And of course, the winners were the SmackDown Tag Team titles, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, which I was quite shocked at. I didn't think they'd come out victorious in any way. And the Raw Tag Team Champions, which I predicted that they would win the championship in some way, whether it be SmackDown Tag Team Championships, Raw Tag Team Championships, or Undisputed Tag Team Championships. The winner of the Raw Tag Team Championships, of course, the Awesome Truth. It was a great match, really enjoyable. Ladder matches usually are, especially when there's a lot of people like that in. It just ends up being a bit of a fuck fest, and it was great. It was a great match. Can't say much bad about it, to be honest. And I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think again I'll go with a 7 out of 10. I think it was great. I liked the fact that they split the two belts. I didn't think they were going to do it that night. I thought they would have waited until after WrestleMania, maybe do it on the Raw after Mania or during the draft. But it happened. I think it was great to finally see, or at least it's been a while since R-Truth had a winning moment at WrestleMania, and he finally got it. And R-Truth, in this typical humor, got made us all chuckle, and it was good to see him put Damian Priest in the attitude adjustment as well after all the shit that he's taken from the Judgment Day. But yeah, a solid 7 out of 10.
Okay, well, the next match of the night, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the next match of the night was the Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Am I right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, well, this match was, as much as I'm a big fan of Rey Mysterio, and I like the fact that Andrade was his partner. I thought that'd be exciting. I wasn't exactly that hyped for this match. It was very rushed. It was added last minute, and we're not a lot of a story behind it. Obviously, the story was obviously Rey and Dominic. But it just seemed very rushed. It felt like they were like, oh, we've got a space. Who shall we put on the card? And they just went with that. Um, but nevertheless, yeah, okay. Um, you know, it may have not been the best build up to the match because it was added last minute. Doesn't take away from, you know, the action in the ring, and I have to say, really, to an extent, it wasn't anything special for a tag team match, for a WrestleMania match. So for me, I give it a 6 out of 10.
I'm not going to be as generous. I think the build up to it was weak. I wasn't really too excited about it. We still didn't really get an answer as to how Dragon Lee ended up getting beaten up or injured or whatnot. Maybe that reveal will come soon. Um, I don't think that it was the right result. I think Dominic losing 2 WrestleManias in a row to his dad, maybe it might set something up for next year. I'm going to give it, I hate to say this about Rey Mysterio, someone whom I consider a living legend, but I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Didn't do it for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, looking at the list, I'm